Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with the player ranked #1 in the world by Dark. In the red, the final boss. It's Dark. Up against his eternal nemesis, the Terran in the blue. It's Micro Jackson. ByuN. A best of 3 Terran versus Zerg. And once again, these two facing off. And once again, I'm quickly begging you for likes and subscribes. And Jimmy, what are we... 1,340 likes on this series, on this cast. Oh my god, he's putting it on the low ground. He's gotten greedier. Anyway, I'm sorry. 1,340 likes. And I'll cast another series. And I'll probably do it anyways. And there's a statistically likely chance it'll be ByuN versus Dark at this rate. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get a little bit better. And if you haven't made it there yet, it'd be awesome if you could subscribe. Though, since there's a video pretty much every day. What? What is he doing? He comes up to the front door and shoots his way in and... Revenge! Okay, okay. ByuN is taking a third base. I mean, why not? But this map is already so defensive. Post-youth, yeah. It's already so easy to protect your first 2 bases. ByuN's like, shh. That's not nearly risky enough for my taste. He just slaps down the third on location, and Dark's not going to do anything about it. He's busy building up on his side of the map. Just now took his first gas geyser 4 minutes in, as he's going for the gasless 3 hatch into as many drones as possible. ByuN sneaking around, as he well, not really sneaking, but slinking around. I'll settle on that. I'm not happy about it, but slinking around with the Hellions. Not slipping. No, we settled. Moving on. 4 Hellions up against the Queens, who strongly disagree with their presence. Gonna keep track of the creep. And so the reason why these Hellions are still a danger, or such a consistent choice, is because, very simply, Zerg has no cost-effective way to deal with it. The Queens can whip their knitting needles at them at the edge of the creep. Zerglings can deter them, but off of creep, Zerglings are only marginally faster than the Hellions. Roaches simply are not. If you go for too many roaches early, that eats into the rest of your economy. By the time those roaches waddle across the map, they're very likely going to have defense. And there's always the option of a Banshee. Because the Banshee could exist, kind of stops many sort of all-ins from happening. Just in general, because it's a big gamble whether or not you'll get damage done, especially on a map like this, where worst case, well, near worst case scenario, ByuN could just pull his third base back. Dark doesn't even know about the third. He's not going to be surprised when he eventually sees it. Dark himself is still more focused on his side of things than he is on worrying about ByuN's. So, already has 60 drones, double Evo chamber, there's double NG Bay for ByuN. So besides flirting around the creep tumors, which is... there's an app for that, I'm sure, but... besides the early exchanges, it's going to be mass Roach from Dark up against a more conventional mass Marine from ByuN. Though that mass Roach timing, especially considering ByuN's already on the low ground, could certainly be a deadly choice. Aliens working their way around again. The Queens, how many? That doesn't show how many creep tumors. It doesn't count if they're not finished yet. The creep tumors have never been born, they can't be lost. Which starts a lot of weird philosophical parallels, but... speed on the way for the Zerglings, as well as Roach speed. And Dark not going for the big all-in, though threatening it with the Roaches. He has 77 drones. He's got an infestation pit on the way. The Roaches are the shield that blocks out any sort of early aggression for the follow-up, which is going to be Lings, Banelings, probably Vipers. If he's feeling spicy, Hydras, and if he's feeling salty, Ultralisk. All right, now you've got your entire culinary Zerg. You know, I'm comfortable with that description as well. All right, we're going to settle on that one. Double drop headed out towards the north side. It'd be weird if it was going any other direction, but wants to keep more control of the situation, maybe threaten the main. There are a gratuitous amount of overlords. Ready to see it as it boosts in. And the Queens, yeah, Well, that ain't happening. The creep spread's already over halfway across the map, despite the efforts of the Hellions and, well, the Hellbats and now the Dead Bats. Second factory's on the way. The double drop settles for clearing the creep. Trying to keep some control on the situation, but Dark. Plenty of roaches, the queens, some of them coming down. And the gold base is really helping keep that economy up. Oh, wow. So even though ByuN has mules and a comparable amount of workers, the gold base with its extra mineral boost on those workers, and the fact that Dark just has more bases to efficiently mine from. No. Okay. I can't tell if ByuN knew it wouldn't hit, so he didn't micro away, or if he just got lucky. I give it a 50-50 on either. But that was enough corrosive bows to kill the medevacs, just wasn't quite on target for once. Ultralisk Cavern is on the way. There's already... Dark has 112 Zerglings! God, I'm getting so much deja vu from the last series they played. Which I assume was 3 hours before this. No, it wasn't quite, but close. They play... It's the Clem versus Max Packs of Korea. Except we have a triumvirate in Korea of Dark, Hero, and ByuN. Well, the Zerglings are just streaming through. Dark bleeding out dozens of them before really even getting in range of any units. Did he kill anything? Like, one Marine! ByuN killed as many Marines as Dark. He killed one Marine for 50 Zerglings, a Roach, and an Overlord. Which is not a particularly great trade. But it was a trade indeed. Dark, though, still maxed out. Those were exploratory lings, testing the waters. And now, looking to drown him and Ling Bane. Oh my. He's got 80 Zerglings, 14 Banelings, 4 Ultras on the field. ByuN putting up his defenses. We've had minimal exchanges to this point. Almost not quite a no-rush 10 minutes, but pretty close to it. Dark is working on +2 Carapace. Will he wait for Adrenal Glands? No. Maybe. Chitinous Plating and Adrenal Glands are not done. He's waiting. If ByuN moves out, this army's coming in. But Dark is about 10 seconds out. Is he not? He's not even waiting? No. It's like, you're so close to these upgrades. He knows. He backs off. The Marines, you can tell that the Chitinous Plating isn't done because those Marines still did damage. It's done now, and the Ultras are ready to go. He goes straight up the center, not even bothering with a flank. Ultras down the center line, crushing through the tanks, forces the base to live. It looks like with the bunker, ByuN may be able to hold. And part of the reason this did so well is ByuN had a lot of army committed in the medevacs to the north side. Takes out a base. 98 Zerglings in production, though. Gonna make it hard for ByuN to get any more done. Whips out the corrosive biles, but ByuN darts away. Another wave. Round 2. Fight. Here we go. Zerglings running in. Ultras cleaving through. Siege tanks getting lots of damage done, but the Zerglings eventually get on top of them. Still one Ultra leading the charge here. And the Zerglings are chewing through the Marauders. The drop is idle to the north. And ByuN starting to take critical damage here. More SCVs down. The Marines are stimming their way back. Factory distracting some of the Roach Ravager. The Ultra finally dies, and ByuN just taps out. Dark just made 2 waves and killed him. Excuse me. ByuN just... Wow. Dark overwhelming him. A bit of a lackluster showing, I will say. ByuN didn't really find any damage, nor did he attempt much more than a token drop, and ends up just getting run over by the Ultras. I don't know. Usually you see a bit more of a fight than that. A lot more Marines lost. Certainly a better trade for Dark by the end than that 1 Marine for 50 Zerglings we saw at the start. But we're going to Dynasty. Which, Jimmy, I think they should go on the other side. Like, even though Dark's on the bottom, he's on the left. And it's like a horizontal. Yeah, I think that looks better. I know. Like and subscribe for more production level discussions. But yeah, I think the player on the left side, even if they are lower relatively on the map, on this map, should go on the top side of the nameplates. I have spoken. All right, but it's a bit ambiguous. I could see it the other way as well. Yeah, it looks wrong. Okay, we'll settle on this. A lot of settling today. Well, Reaper comes in. We'll kill one Zergling, make that 2. ByuN gets 3. And the queen comes out. My babies. Nope. Thinking about the creep tumor. Putting that Reaper giving the queen eyes. Really? Are you kidding me? They can't keep getting away with it. They can and they have for like 8 years, Susan. I know. Somehow the Reaper finds the creep tumor right off the bat, despite Dark's efforts to stall it out. Here we go again. Will they, won't they? The Reaper sees the Queen sees the Reaper. Reaper playing hard to get. Queen, hard to get anywhere. And, oh my. That's just rude. Gonna be Hellions behind. So, that was a bop. Dark just came over. I guess it was a little bit less than a bop, because a bop would have been Dark coming in with the first wave of ultras and just winning the game. It was the second wave of ultras, so there's a little more to it. Oh my god, he just runs by with the Hellions. He's correctly predicted that Dark didn't go for speed, but the Hellion gets surrounded and killed because, yeah, that was a bit optimistic. 3 drones, coming in with more. I guess it's one of those days. We're running in with the Hellions. Another day where you wake up and your alarm woke you up, but the alarm was for last week and you forgot to reset it, so now you're up like 2 hours early and you're like, well, am I up now? But you're super tired because you stayed up too late watching YouTube videos of StarCraft and saying, maybe tomorrow I'll play StarCraft, but now you're up too early and you're kind of tired, and that's a good excuse not to bother. So instead, just like and subscribe. And that's kind of the day when you want to run in with the Hellions, is what I'm trying to say. And now, ByuN, no third command center, instead relying on the gold base for that extra boost of economy. He's going 2 barracks stim, got a cloaked Banshee on the way. And the factory now floating over, freeing up some space probably for the starport. Completes cloak. About to complete the Banshee, the factory waiting patiently for its turn with the tech lab. How polite. What is heading up there? 4 roaches to inconvenience the SCVs. The Hellions run in again. 4 more drones. And... not even close. The Banshee... 1 shot away from killing the Queen, but the Queen takes it out first. There's a lair on the way, already an odd start, and the Banshee demonstrating what I was talking about in the last game, where the Banshee existing kind of invalidates many early roach timings, unless you want to bring the Queens along, which is a whole ordeal. Okay. And Dark expanding to the outside of the base. 1, there's a rich Vespene Geyser there. Same amount as a regular Vespene Geyser, but very shiny, and they carry more out of it. Did he queue up? No, he just didn't get +1 armor yet. ByuN should be seeing that soon. Double drop. Finds an Ovi. I drop out. Is that quite enough rage? Not quite. They have to go all the way around. Okay. They stim everyone. Everyone! Seems like a bit of overlord kill, if you would. Infestation bit on the way. Once again, Dark gonna rely on the roaches to box out, and then switch into the Ling Bane, and wouldn't be surprised to see ultras on the menu. It drops, aggressively load up, stop, and aggressively boost forward. I don't know why it's aggressive. It's just like a normal boost forward, but it feels so abrupt when you go from nothing to afterburners. Marines get in, thus demonstrating why Dark expanded on the outside. Then again, ByuN can maybe kill his drones from inside his own base, but it's better to have the outside defended than potentially be pinned in by medevacs, by siege tanks. But it's generally just a massive pain in the mineral line. Trying to keep this goal going. ByuN's kind of tied up here. Gonna lose a drone. The Queen's out in front. Yep. Gotta dance back and forth. Exchanging fire over the top. The Roach is I don't know if that's enough. ByuN's pretty confident it's not. Yeah. And partitioning the Roaches so that way you have enough in the right place at the right time is quite difficult before speed is done. And now the Queens, these Marines aren't stopping. They keep stimming and they keep winning. Finally whittles them down to the point where there should be enough Roaches to deal with it. But Dark has spent the last minute or two dealing with just this drop. And that means ByuN has pretty comfortably taken his third and is working on a fourth. He's going to be much closer in terms of production than he was in the previous game. And if he's able to get a planetary laid down at his fourth base, there's not even a... I mean, it's not a particularly late hive out of Dark, but significantly later than we saw the last time. It's going to be lurkers. Oh my god, he got burrowed. Now, was it intentional? It's not bad to have, but not sure, like, kind of an odd timing for burrow. It's also a very misclickable upgrade in my experience, but it's something you eventually want to get no matter what. Okay, the burrow, it definitely doesn't hurt. And if it slows down any of your timings, it hurts a bit. The Queens, keeping watch, neighborhood watch, looking out. Hatchery Owners Association will certainly be keeping a close eye on those Terrans. We don't like their kind in our neighborhood. Moving on. Ghost Academy on the way. ByuN is interested in winning. We saw a very difficult series for ByuN at ESL Spring, where he made the Marines work, but eventually they stopped and the Ghost did not pick up the slack in time. But it seems this time around he's very happy to sit back and build up with the Ghost while still pressuring with the Marines, as opposed to relying entirely upon them. +2 weapons about to complete. The Marines are stimming through. Takes out an Ovi, but a small sacrifice compared to losing more drones out of that. Just swings over to the side, targets down the drones as they're on the extractor, picks up and gets out. Those Marines... Drops one out. Of course he does. Gets one more for the road. And he's expanding to the other side of the gold. I think mostly for that gas geyser, but why not? This is shaping up to be quite an interesting late game, as we have this Roach Hydra Ravager composition up against a very siege tank heavy Marine Marauder with Ghosts on the way. Oh wow, wait, what a beautiful spray of corrosive bile there. What is he trying to tell us? Probably that he doesn't like Marines and Marauders. Good guess. Nidus on the way. And that Nidus used to ideally drag the army out of position. Best case scenario, you get it into the main and just cut off all the production. And medium case scenario, you're able to drag a bunch of army supply and keep them busy. Worst case scenario, you lose it and all of your lurkers and do very little damage. So there's a range with the Nidus. Usually Dark is somewhere in the middle. Until either ByuN breaks or the other way around. Adaptive Talon's about to complete that lurker. Makes the lurkers way more maneuverable. And, well, more corrosive bile. Dark working on +3 ranged attack. He has no melee upgrades. He's really focused on the lurkers this time. The ghosts line up their shots, the planetary, the bulwark to hold the line, but here comes the bio to chase down the Ravagers. The defensive bios just spraying and retreat the fadeaway shots. The planetary, and it's, oh, okay. Not quite enough. 2 infestors now on the way as he realizes there needs to be a much more direct response to the ghosts. Oh, EMPs hit the Vipers. Thankfully, no snipes there. The first exchange. There's a lot of siege tanks. 14 siege tanks on the field. A very siege tank heavy composition for ByuN. A lot more. Usually you see Liberators and Ghosts. The siege tank count kind of 5, maybe 8 on the outside. Double-digit siege tanks is quite a commitment, but he does have +2 mech weapons. Corrosive Bowel knocks out a few of the Marines. Dark starting to build up plenty of money in the bank. Throws in the fungal, catches a couple ghosts. EMP catches the rest of the infestors. 5 more spines on the way. As Dark just mass spine defenses across the board. Nidus, Dark is not maxed out. He's got a lot of supply open. 75 larvae in the bank. The wonders of not going for Zerglings. He's still not spending. Dark, what are you gonna do? Dark is at 170 supply. He's got plenty of money. No. That's not a misclick. That's not a 1. That has a 0 next to it. Okay, hold. Sir Richard and his merry band of swarm host brethren. No longer Ricky the accidental swarm host. What? 18. I mean, I said there were a lot of siege tanks, but I didn't expect this answer. Nidus swarm host. Okay. Against Terran. Now, mech Terran, okay, maybe. But this is just ghost, like, swarm hosts. The locusts are easily countered by the ghosts. Well, there's not too many things that aren't countered by the ghosts, but I don't think I've seen anyone try this composition against Terran in this, like, especially not a mech. If it's mass mech Terran, especially before ghosts get added in, okay, maybe you can see it. But that is, he's not just throwing a few swarm hosts in. That's 18 swarm hosts. That's about a third of his army supply is in swarm hosts right now. And that is certainly one way to deal with the planetary. The ghosts forced to retreat. The ghosts are amazing against the locusts, just auto-attacking. But it's a matter of how far you can push back. Dark is doing multi-layered. He's like, how do you like it, Terrans? He's got the equivalent of planetary fortresses here. Lurkers with spore crawlers scattered in, and queens throughout. So now it's on ByuN to break through Dark's lines, as opposed to the other way around. But the swarm host, he's adding 5 more. That's gonna be 23 swarm hosts. That's a swarm legion right there. Did he kill a single unit? He killed a Marine. Well, yeah, and that kind of demonstrates. Well, the lurkers are doing pretty well, but the snipes on everything and everyone and their brothers and their sisters and their families and their brood and everyone in between. The ghosts just wave their magical sniper rifle around and knock out. Well, it doesn't one-shot swarm host, which is, I'm kind of embarrassed to say I didn't know that. You can do the math, but I haven't seen ghosts sniping swarm hosts for quite a bit. He's like, well, I lost all that army supply, which frees me up for 11 more swarm hosts. What? 34 more swarm hosts than your body can handle with 69 drones. What a nice strategy here from Dark. I don't know if it's a good one. The spines are helping, but another wave. And he builds Zerglings? In this economy? Well, actually, he's rich, so... The fact that... Oh, that's a very dang ghost. The fact that... that swarm hosts take 2 snipes to kill is certainly something. Well... Right now, Dark has 33 swarm. He's now making Ling Bane. But ByuN, he's spending all his money. So, Dark has so much money in the bank. Somehow, eventually ByuN will be dragging the minerals out of all these Banes. Baneling speed isn't even done. Those are slow Banes. Alright. They'll expect one of us in the wreckage for that. Down goes the ghost. Meow. I don't know why I made that noise. Felt like the appropriate noise for the swarm host, but still. Throwing some of them down. It does kind of circumvent the Liberators. It looks like a campaign mission. Another planetary down in the same location. Hellbats. Hell Chad's being added in. They're about to have blue... Well, they're pretty far up, but they're going to have blue flame, smart servos. They already got +3. The only +1 plating. Is there adrenal glands for the Zerglings? No. Not that I think Zerglings are going to get much opportunity. He's a Ventria scan to keep track of the sheer girth of this swarm host mass. That's so many. There are 19 ghosts, which is not surprising, and 33 swarm hosts, which is very surprising. I am startled right now. Is he sniping locusts? I don't even think that's worth it. I think you kill locusts faster by just auto attack. The locust actually dropped down. He doesn't have enough energy for cloak. Dark recognizes it and swoops down. That's the literal term for the ability. Makes sense, I guess, but... Blue flame about to complete. The swarm host, I can't tell if it's working, but it's certainly doing something. Leave it to Dark to build another... You'd think we would have run out of units to have new strategies at this point, but... Dark with another wave. And ByuN doesn't have that much in the bank. He sends it towards the third, splits off some. I think ByuN actually has too many SCVs at this point. His army supply isn't enough to really punish this. Dark has 132 to 111 army supply at the moment. So... The scans will continue until the swarm hosts are dead. Well, there's 9 orbital commands, so he can just continue scanning. He should not run out. There's a nuke, of course. Another wave. Oh my god. Swarm hosts, there's so many. They can't even all land by the time the planetary dies. And it has building armor. The locusts don't care. Their short, angry lives are more than enough to take out a planetary. But that means ByuN has some time to move in towards the north. The banelings rolling through. Oh my god. There's so many! Ah! Gotta be careful not to launch them all onto one tank. He just swoops down with 2. Oh my god, the tank's on the run! No, the locusts chase them down! And raining locusts from above! Another tank! It's starting to get real progress. But the ghosts are countering everything else. More ghosts, though. 3, 4, 5 dead. Dark's killed 35. He's only lost 1 swarm host. What? These swarm hosts are nearing their retirement age, which is remarkably ironic considering the nature of swarm hosts. Another wave. Send in another Gorgon. Nope. The swarm locust. Wait, another planetary. The orbital's pre-lift. And the SCVs will be slaughtered. Ah, fancy meeting you here. Oh my, but wait, the army's going everywhere and every which way for everyone. Where are the locusts? Or I mean the swarm hosts, rather. The locust holders. The mini-map is a mess. I mean, you kind of get the idea, but there's command centers everywhere. Dark is starting to, like, he doesn't really have, well, oh my, the Hellbats are doing so much, but the locusts keep raining down. They've broken through the front line and took out so many of the units behind it. And Dark still has money in the bank. He's been remarkably cost-effective. He's only lost one swarm host. How? Why? When? We already know the who. And what doesn't really apply. But he just keeps throwing the load. Well, he's lost a lot of other things, but the tanks aren't cutting it. In fact, I feel like the tanks are actively hurting at this stage. They are so readily countered by the swarm host. 14 more! He's gonna go for 50, so you can't win with just swarm hosts. If only because technically you can't kill all the flying buildings. Are you kidding me? He's going to have 47 swarm hosts. That has to be a record. In any game. Even including Heart of the Swarm Host. I mean, we've seen new games from David Kim, but somebody send him this one. All right, remember this, David? Well, this actually is a very different swarm host than back in the day. 44. Wait, what? How do numbers work? Did he lose more? No. He was building 14. He had 33. How does he end up with 44? Is my math way off? Am I crazy? I need to go back just to make sure I'm not an insane person. He's building 14. Did he lose a base at the larva or something? Yes. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. Time warp. Okay, I'm not crazy. Well, in this instance, I am not a crazy person. I just wasn't paying attention, which is incompetence, but that's much more common. The Loke. I love it. They rain down in the planetary falls. A Nidus to wall. He's trying to wall in the tanks with the Nidus and the changelings. Dark is out here playing like bronze to GM troll strategies against ByuN, who is the third-ranked Terran player in the world. Darkseid, that's nothing. I'm second-ranked Zerg. I mean, first-ranked Zerg. Shut up, Cyril. I think it's working, right? He's winning. It's so hard to tell with the Swarm Host, because one bad fight, and he... Well, 42 Swarm Hosts. Is this the answer to Terran? He's got some he's got just enough Hydras to take out Liberators. And he's got 26. He only has 14 drones. Dark is at 178 army supply. And most of it can't do anything right now. All the Hydras are getting sniped. 10 seconds. He has no Locust. And the major weakness of this entire strategy is that for 2/3 of the time, his army might as well be 50 army supply. ByuN is pinning him back. Dark is... He has to be careful not to use the entire wave of Locust. This is a couple more. He just flung out the entire wave. How are you going... What are you gonna do when they come for you? But also, when you're sitting back and you have no Locusts, he rains down the Hellbats and the siege tanks. Now what? So Dark is running out of money because ByuN has been able to ByuN has survived. You know, I think there is still... The infestors need to land. ByuN is only mining off one base right now pretty well. Okay, 1.5. Because Dark has denied mining at bases so much. I think there's something to this, though. I don't know. Like, it's looking dicey now. I'm not convinced this is the strat. I think 40 is pushing it. But the, like, 20-something swarm hosts... If Dark had a more, sturdy unit composition besides the fickle and transient nature of the swarm host, then... But, unfortunately, when push came to shove, Dark had nothing to shove back with. Eventually, ByuN, yeah, the Marines try to get back in the Nidus. But the Marines, he actually loses a lot of them. He's building a command center. Really, ByuN. ByuN has, like, 8 orbitals over here. You can't float one over. Nah, budget cuts. Okay, we cut out the lift thrusters. Well, that's bullshit. The lurkers are back. But Dark is broke down. He's back to, and this was the composition that was working so well earlier. The infestors, the lurkers. I don't think it was so much. You could see where this is trending. Even though ByuN is down on supply, Dark has nothing and he can't build anything. It's a matter of time now. We've seen, I think it was that he just gave up on the rest of the army. Okay, you gotta have the full, you gotta have the full complement. You gotta have the infestors. You gotta have the lurkers. You gotta have something to back them up so that way they can't just hunt down your swarm house. Kind of like how Terran needs to have ghosts and medevacs, and also medevacs and ghosts in the late game. They can't just rely on one unit to complement their whole composition. So, well, Dark comes in again. He's still, like, he's pushed back up against the wall, which is when he's arguably most dangerous. Another drop, though. Dark is down to 0 drones, which is not very... Oh my god, he doesn't have the money for another drone. Well, that's an absolute economic disaster. He could cancel one of his infestors. He's at literally 0 drones, which is not very many. The infestor's thrown out. I don't think Dark quite realizes it yet. And if he lets these infestors finish, he can't rebuild his drones. And at the end of the day, I don't think it matters too much. GG. Okay, wow, I need to process this. And by the end of the game, Dark still had 33 swarm hosts. He only lost 12. If only he protected his drones and all of his other units. Like he protects his swarm host. I think there's something to that, though. I don't know. It's always great to see anything, any sort of new late game strategy against the mass ghost composition, but it's not quite enough. But I think ByuN was helping him out by still building tanks as well. That's the issue. Is if ByuN just kind of traded out the tanks for liberators? But Terran's in building the exact same units the entire game. Name a more iconic combo besides liking and subscribing. So that brings us to the ace match, which, considering these two, could still be quite an ordeal. But wow, that was... Oh, he's going 3 Rex 3. ByuN. He's like, I'm not letting that happen again. even though I won, it was not... did not spark joy. Still. Wow. I'm thinking real hard right now. I'm trying to come up with... I've already poked a few holes in the strategy in general. Just as ByuN did with his ghost, but... It feels like... there was still potential there. He just overdid it heavily on the Swarm House. 40's a bit much, okay? Swarm Hosts are like ages of pro gamers, okay? Late 20s? Sure. ByuN is 30. That's fine. 40-something? Okay, that's pushing it. He's still making... And Dark saw the third barracks here. He's gonna try to defend 3 hatch against 3 Rax Reaper with no expansion. Susan, this is a bad idea. It's too late, Linda. We're already committed. Tell my hatchery I love it. You call it a her? The Reapers will continue doing what they do best, which is outmaneuvering the entirety of the Zerg swarm, and then cutting off the entire command structure. The grenades, the Brenda bout. Oh, there's nothing to defend the drones! Not like this. Transfuse or 2. Grenade pops another set. More. But the heal hasn't come through yet. Oh my god. They're healing. And ByuN is just not leaving the base. Dark is trying to outflank him, but the Reapers are still finding damage, getting more drones. Dark only has, well, he's up to 23. He was down under 20. But the last Reaper. Oh my god, everyone! The sentence is death. That's not a sentence, that's a single word, Brenda. Terran, you... There's a spine crawler as well. Well, not really that many losses in the grand scheme of things. 5 drones, 2 Zerglings, 7 Reapers killed, but 7 Reapers. Okay, I'm sorry. 7 Reapers killed. There, that's more like it. God, the queens. 9 queens, all angrily throwing their knitting needles at the Reapers. Dark, with this 3 hatch, has been able to recover his drones quickly. Not only the ones he lost, but the ones that he didn't end up building, because he ended up building so many Zerglings to deal with the Reapers. And now things will simmer down a bit, if only because that amount of biomass, when it comes to the queens, is just too much to handle. Spinecrow in the high ground. Get off my queen! Finally. Finally, that's enough from the Reapers. They're still trying. Queens, still skirting the creep. Dark. The Roach one on the way now, but already +1/+1. Out of ByuN. And this is where the fun begins. More barracks. Starport on the way. Medevacs on the agenda. There's going to be plenty of creep. At a level that usually it's not quite so expansive by the time the medevacs come out. But because he skipped over the Hellions in order to get more bio and opted for the Reapers early, yeah, the Reapers are keeping the creep at bay, but it's going to expand out all sides well before the medevacs can come across the map. And that will give Dark a lot of vision and just the ability to reposition his army quickly, which is 2 peas in a particularly important pod. Weird food references today. Spicy. Okay. It's time. Oh my god, I love it. Bye. Oh, Oceanborn. We must always have one underwater map. Though I'm... just an aside. It doesn't have to be underwater. Like, there was a map... There's different settings for... I'm not exactly sure how it works, but there's different settings for, like, the gravity level of the map, where units will ragdoll. There was a map called Earthrise in the Team Liquid map contest, which was somewhere in between. It had, like, moon gravity, because it was on the moon or whatever. Is the whole thought process. But it was interesting that it was, like, somewhere in between the normal ragdolling and the underwater ones that we see here on Oceanborn. Is that 12 Overlords in production? Well, Dark will not be supply blocked for the rest of the game. Assuming he doesn't lose any. The Queen! Heal me! I know. Wow, the transfuse rapid fire. But eventually, down goes the Queen. But another 10 take her place, so. I'm on the way. The Marines darting in. Who could have expected this? Another Queen? Oh, they're out of energy. But better to lose the Queens than the hatcheries or the drones, so trading out for the greater good. These two. ByuN has definitely bounced back after the bop in Game 1, though still a bit tenuous footing on Dynasty. Looking even stronger, though, on Oceanborn, whereas Dark is headed more towards a, well, it's likely to be the Ultras, but ByuN is opting for the Octo-Rex. Well, this isn't the 8 Rex timing that you've seen a lot of lately, especially like Oliveira versus Cyril. He's just getting 8 barracks on 4 bases, which is much more for maxing out and continuing unit production rather than trying to end the game outright before Hive. Because that ship has sailed, the Hive is done. We just need to see what tech he's going to choose out of it. There's the Vipers, the Adrenal Glands, the Ultraless Cavern. Dark has his full selection of Hive tech choices. And we're going back to a bit more of a typical late game with dozens less swarm hosts so far than the previous one. That was crazy, though. I'm still... Oh. There's something there. I'm not sure if it'll stay something or if it will be a flash in the pan here, but... Huge Zergling counter. ByuN moved out with everything and now has to come back, pick up the pieces. He only lost 1 SCV. I thought the SCV's loss counter wasn't working. He managed to mitigate the damage to the point where he only lost 1 SCV. The counter doesn't show up until 2 losses. So that was the issue. So beautifully done there, but the Zerglings trying to get the wraparound on the Marines. The Marines stimming the exact opposite direction. Banelings thinning out, gets the target fire at the last moment. Most of the Marines load up into the medevacs, a few unlucky ones. Not so much. Ultraless on the way to fill as much supply as possible, but Dark doesn't have so much money you can just max out and run him over. Three more Ultras on the way. How many on the field right now? 0. So that'll make 3 in total. Trying to take out the hatchery, but probably not worth the hatchery's cost of Marines. Dark does have another base already up the 5th to the north. Wouldn't be the least bit surprised to see a couple more out there as well. Let me out! He walled in his Ultras. Beautiful. He walled in his ultras. Choose through the Roach Warren. It's kind of, well, actually, you might want to remake that, as Ravagers are very helpful against, like, Liberators and tanks in the late game. And Dark, so good. And speaking of Liberators and tanks, that's pretty much all the units in production right now for ByuN. Stimming in. We'll finish this up. Blinding Cloud on some tanks. And, for the most part, Dark will rampage through towards the third. A bunch of Marauders, though, going to take out the Ultras to the right side. 15, 20 SCVs down. But at the same time, Dark losing a base of his own, and the Marines are continuing to stem forward. Planetary may hold the line. Single Ultra is back. A Baneling Nest will be targeted down as Dark losing more and more of his tech. The high ground is too much. The Ultras can't jump that high. And the Marines in behind. Dark outmaneuvered by the Medivacs. ByuN loses 22 SCVs, but is stalling out a lot of Dark's economy, and killing the Baneling Nest means he's severely delayed any follow-up attack, as without a Baneling Nest, it's unlikely you're going to be able to break through. Oh my god, gutting down so many Zerglings! 117 Zerglings dead. But a lot of ByuN's army. Oh no! The parasitic bomb! Loses one medevac. Another gets away with a handful of Marines inside. More Ultras in production. Baneling Nest has completed yet again 3 command centers. Unbuilt, well, finished building, but no orbitals or planetaries over there. So when the smoke clears, well, something's burning. What? Why is this factory burning? How did he shoot his own factory? Like, in what scenario does this factory, among anything else, I don't know. Maybe it was on the logo, but it has a reactor, so that's the odd part. Oh, mystery. Liberator, gonna be outflanked by a Spore, but repositioned. Dark still doesn't have a Roach Warren, so dealing with these Liberators is going to be a massive pain. Dark losing a weird amount of tech. Does he have a... He's consuming his second Bane Nest. I don't know how much damage here was dealt by Marines, and how the entire Overlord flock has to spread away from the Liberator. But the Liberator actually wanders into the Spore. This is why sometimes players will siege it up. Oh, this is awkward. Like, out in the dead space, in order to prevent exactly that from happening. Oh, this is awkward, indeed. Alright, we'll keep you posted on that. Blinding Clouds on the back line to try to force the units into the Ultralists, but the Ultralists are already badly bruised. More army coming in towards the third. SCV's vulnerable. But Dark only has 61 drones back at home. The Bioball looking good. The Orbital Command is burning now. Fungal! Massive! Terrible, terrible damage! Wait, Medivacs are really good. Medivacs heal through most of it. It looked a lot worse than it was on that Fungal. The Widow Mines on the high ground. Lines from the Ghosts and from the Widow Mines. Gonna take out an Ultra. 49 SCVs eviscerated, though. The economy is shattered. Dark gonna have to patch it back up with some mules. He only has 4 Orbitals right now. So, now that barracks burning is a bit more easily explained. Dark at... There's not even advanced ballistics. It's just the one Ravager finally knocks it down. 4 more Ultras on the way, but Dark isn't in the home stretch quite yet, as there are now 11 Ghosts, a dozen Mines, and... Oh wait, no, that's the units tab. Yeah, I was like, he has 6 Medivacs in production. What did... No. Oh my... yes. The Mule Mountain climbs the income gap and brings ByuN back into the lead, at least for now. He's building 5 SCVs at a time as well. So the mules will patch up the income for a time as both players recover. Investors on the way. Dark not willing to make the mistake of the last game. Or just in general. He's not gonna attack directly into the entrenched ghosts and mines. At least not until he has everything he needs. He knows the mines are out there. 15 ghosts on the field. A Hydra Den on the way. Oh, dropping out to deal with this. ByuN, they've played games like this before. Dark feels like he's in a comfortable position, but then suddenly the tables turn and the ghosts are enough to flip them. Dark making sure he has everything he can before committing to anything else. He's not trying to hit any of these bases, which is a little surprising. Like, a surprising lull in the action after a hectic first 15 minutes. They both took significant damage, though, trying to recover here. And it seems like they're both convinced that sitting back, as opposed to trying to take out some more of the economy, is a better move. I think this, in the long term, favors ByuN, because he has that Terran unit composition that is so incredibly difficult to break. The more entrenched it gets, the harder it's going to be in the long run, no matter how much money you have in the bank. Vipers. Dark has Vipers, Infestors, Ultras, Lingbane, Roach. There's probably a Ravager or two in there somewhere, yeah. Two equally, well, near equally capable armies. Comes in, Whittle Mines, taken out before they can get much. The missile turret almost takes out the Viper. Dark looking to join up with his northern army. But ByuN sitting back, waiting for the hammer to drop. There's the fusion core for the Liberators. Zerglings split off to deal with the mines. Neural Parasite on the way. Oh, the Fungal's looking good, but not good enough. Infestor popped. Mass Liberator in production. Neural Parasite is an interesting one here. Oh, gets a wraparound on the ghosts, but saved by the medevac. Some of them, at least. And gets an Ultra in trade. So, you know, I'm not going to complain too much about that one if I'm ByuN. Dark with only 2k gas in the bank. Wow, those are changelings. 6 Liberators at a time. Though he hasn't started Advanced Ballista. There it is. Dark. Maxed out. ByuN as well. Wow, things really... They both just... cut off the aggression. Like a hard stop there. Not slowly, but like abruptly the action ended. But now Dark sees an opportunity. ByuN strayed a little too far. A little too fast. And loses a lot of those ghosts. But the Liberators are on the way. 5 Liberators at a time. 4 ghosts. And maybe this will inspire Dark. Parasitic Bomb. He's pre-splitting against the Parabombs. Throws him out anyways. The Ultras sniped off. Corrosive Bile on the retreat. Takes out another. Kept the Vipers alive. Very important. There's burrowed Lings at the bases. We'll scan to deal with them. But Dark, still money in the bank. ByuN is maxed out, but you can't really replace. Another big Widow Mine hit. The planetary targeting Banelings. Double planetary defense! But the Banelings are crashing in. The backup planetary here. He targets the Infestor with the planetary. And here we go. Trading blows yet again. It's not going to be a full-on base trade. But both sides take out a base. ByuN takes out the base to the south. And Dark cleans up 2 planetaries. But I think the tie goes to the leader here. And Dark... maintains money in the bank and still has most of his unit composition. Oh, the Whittle Mines getting huge connections. Is it enough, though? The Ultras on their way back. The Liberators are not sieged up. Only 2 Ultras remain. The Ghosts line up their shots, knock out most of them. One more snipe should do it. Another one in the natural. Lines up the shots. Great splits out of ByuN. And now the Ultras, Lings, and Banes into the natural. But is there even detection for the Ghost? Does he have Cloak? He doesn't have Cloak! So he can't take advantage of that, but the Ghost still sniping through. ByuN without much money in the bank, but the Liberators are on the wrong side of things. The Widowmines hit the Ghosts as well. The Banelings are closing in. The Liberators are sieged up, nowhere close to the fight. And now the Zerglings are streaming through. ByuN doesn't really have the production. He may have lost the critical mass of units he needs to hold this at all. And back to the high ground he goes. GG. Dark is able to break through just barely, sparing us what could have been a 40-minute game if he holds that attack. Oh my. Well, what an exhausting and entertaining series. 120 SCVs died that game. Wow. Just madness. Again, Dark proving his command over ByuN and his willingness to try out new things. Though ByuN hanging with him for most of the distance. It seems like that early hive tech is working out quite well. Well, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. If you got the means of motivation, be awesome to check out Patreon or YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free for now. But if you haven't yet checked out the second channel, I got some of the new Stormgate faction and just streams in general. StarCraft 1 versus StarCraft 2. Heard people like that over on the second channel, Winter Gaming. You can find it or in the description. But thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Stay chill.